Well, good morning everyone and welcome to Meister Tarot. My name is Libby and I'm thrilled to have you along for this journey with me today. Now what I want to have a look at doesn't affect everybody, but it is a topic of of interest because it will affect the global economy in some ways. The weather, the water in California, to put it quite simply. California rain, California drought. So California has been in drought for a couple of years now. They've had horrific wildfires. The snow that normally fills the aquifers and fills the rivers and fills the dams has not come to fruition in this last winter. They had quite a extensive snow and rain period early in winter, but there was absolutely no follow-up, and the majority of California's water comes from this expected winter snowfall. So what's happened is the snowpack is only 38% of normal. It's the third lowest since 1988. So gosh, that's going back a whiles now. But it is the second lowest was in 2015, and now we're in 2022. This is the third lowest. So these incidences are coming together a lot quicker. And what will happen is that this low, so a third of all California's water supplies come from this snow melt. With the snowpack only being 38% of normal in an existing drought situation, it will only provide about 5% of the required moisture to the catchment, which is a bit of a worry. What I have been reading up on, so excuse me to read my notes here because I'm an Aussie girl. I don't know I know that where California is and a little bit, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, San Francisco, etc. But I don't really know a lot about California in regards to its agriculture and water. So there are several areas of California, and I want to have a look. We've got the coastal and the inland. We have the Shasta Cascade, which is the northern inland area. We have the Central Valley, which is the mid-inland area, which provides the majority of food agriculture that is grown in the Californian area, which is a major food bowl for the United States. And then we have the southern desert area. And I was actually quite surprised at with irrigation how much volume of food and vegetables, etc., fruit and vegetables were produced in this literally a desert area. So they rely on irrigation for basically all of their growth. Now, the agriculture in Canada, this is what I have read, so 2/3 of the agriculture is grown in this Central Valley area, and the 1/3 is divided between the desert and the Cascade in the north. But the agricultural industry in California uses approximately 80% of the water to irrigate 9.6 million acres. This is where the vineyards, the almond crops, the melons, the lettuce, you name it, what's grown in California, uses 80% of the allocated water for the total of the state. So the cities and the suburban areas only use about 20%. The equivalent of water that is used in a year is if you covered 10,000 square miles to a depth of 1 foot, which is really hard to get your head around. I can't visualise 10,000 square miles. I should really have looked up that that's the equivalent of a certain area, but I didn't. And the 80% of water is used on 9.6 million acres. So what actually quite surprised me is that was the restrictions that are put on. I come from Australia. Australia is the driest continent on earth. Even though places like Africa with its droughts get a lot of publicity, California with its, and the US with its droughts, but Australia has the lowest rainfall for the average of the continent in any continent in the world. And I was actually quite surprised when I was looking up, there was this fear of restrictions coming in, and one of the restrictions was to ban the watering of your lawn after rain. And I found that quite humorous, or only allowed to water your garden on alternate days. When Australia has drought, tough bickies. Ban on watering, full stop. You're not allowed to wash your car, you're not allowed to hose your driveways. There is literally across the board bans of water use aside from absolutely essential. And we are very aware of it, and we take it in our stride, and that's just how it is, for the betterment of the majority. We make these sacrifices, and it does mean, and it's not really a sacrifice. I mean, who needs to wash their car every week? I can't remember the last time my car got washed. It might be about 6 months ago. It's a car. It doesn't need it. The garden, I must admit, I do have a bore system, not a well, but they put down a point, and I can pump out from the sand aquifers that are under where I live. But Australians in general are very conscious of mulching their gardens deeply, of growing a type of lawn that is drought resistant. It's called Sir Walter Buffalo for a lot of it, and there are other varieties that are extremely drought resistant. And if the grass dies, the grass dies. So we're not overly aesthetically conscious. We plant plants in our gardens. If you live in a dry area, you plant plants in your gardens that are drought proof, etc. So we're not, so I just find it not amusing, because it's not amusing at all, but I just find it a bit of an eye-opener. So very possible that California could look to, and especially the agriculture in California could look to Australia for ideas on how to be more water efficient. However, I could waffle on about this for the full half hour, and that's not what you're here for. So you don't need me to soapbox at you, to lecture you or anything like that. I want to have a look at the California, and I'll have a look at the three areas, the Cascade, the Central and the Southern Desert, just to see what the rainfall is, or the drought is going to be like in each area. Coastal is fairly well populated, and they do have the desalination plants on the coast, but they are not suitable for the inland agriculture. They can't, there's just not enough. The aquifers, because of the drought that's gone on for so long in California, a lot of the agriculture is irrigated via the aquifers, and they are literally exhausted. There isn't the groundwater that used to be. So what I have read is that the agriculture may be allocated only 20% of its normal allocation. So be aware that there may be shortages of food, that you won't necessarily be able to buy the foodstuffs that you're wanting at any particular time. Perhaps you're coming into summer. Try growing in your own garden, your own house, your own apartment. Easy things like tomatoes and lettuces, and easy to grow things. Catch your water waste from your shower. So when you start a shower, there's usually a percent. That's another thing. is that when we're in drought, you get in the shower, you get wet, you turn the water off, you soap yourself down, you turn the water on, you rinse yourself off, and then you get out of the shower all within about 3 minutes. It might be something to be aware to collect your shower water, to water your plants. We also have a system where you can collect what we call grey water, which is the water out of your washing machine, but you do have to be careful you don't overuse that on your plants. And you also then have to change what washing powder you use to something that is non-phosphorus, so it's okay to use on plants. But okay, I'm going to have a look at the 3 zones. I'm going to have a look at the north. What I'll do is I'll lay out three rows going down, north, mid and south, and just see what the desert conditions are going to, the drought conditions are going to be like for each. So please, Meister, I'm using my Light Seers Tarot, which is my Mother Earth, Families and Friends cards for this reading. Have a plan. Look overseas for inspiration to see how other countries do this, and have a plan for yourself. It is about potentially changing attitude, changing how you view things. This is a worldwide situation with climate change. In Australia, we've got extreme floods at the moment, unprecedented floods. You guys are having unprecedented drought. It is the new normal, and at some stage it will switch, and you guys will have the floods and we'll have the droughts. So please, three rows, north, mid, south. 3 rows, please, Master, north, mid, south. Okay. North. There is a harsh truth that is coming to the fore that needs to be acknowledged. The Knight of Swords, a harsh truth. Knight of Cups, Nine of Cups, not Knight of Cups, Nine of Cups. Wish fulfillment and celebration. Can also be the smug merchant, but this is very much about celebrating a fulfillment. But we've got the 5 of Swords here, which is about the lies and deceit and abuse of power. So this is interesting. They're quite heavy cards, those ones. This middle card is of interest. 7 of Swords. Oh gosh, okay. This is very much about, this is for the mid-region, and this is where the Central Valley is, where most of the cropping takes place. This is very much about being sustainable, taking only what you need, not abusing Mother Nature that is on offer. Okay, this mid-region, the central region. So to some extent I'm finding that the northern region might be okay. There is a harsh truth they will have to face, but they'll be okay. But they have to acknowledge that there is going to be anguish and difficulty. There's going to be this is very much about a mental anguish, mental health. It is going to be mentally very difficult. However, in the mid-region we have this abuse of what is sustainable, this loss of out in the cold financially, and then starting anew. So the Fool is very much about a new path with trust and faith. A lot of water on that particular card, but this is about trusting and faith. Can also mean foolish. but this is very much about putting your trust in the abstract. Desert region, boundaries are going to have to be set, so there's going to be quite severe restrictions in the southern region. There is some strength in that particular area, and there is working together for that particular area. So the southern area, they're going to have quite severe restrictions put on them. They are going to draw on their inner strength and work together towards a solution. This is very much about a new emotional beginning, but a new relationship beginning, a new relationship with the earth and with the climate. The King of Wands, this is an inspirational figure and a very powerful leader, and he has this strength, this line of strength with him as well. So this is going to be bringing forward powerful messages of inspiration, but also looking at different ways of doing things, bringing forward the strength of the region. And this Page of Swords is very much about new ideas. So what I'm getting from that for the regions is that the north will be okay. Mentally it will be extremely difficult. Food will be expensive. They will feel the suffering of their southern neighbours. The food bowl is the one that's going to really cop it, but they are going to have to look at more sustainable ways of producing. And those that cannot find this key, the key is right here to open this door, but those that for whatever reason are okay. What I'm getting from this is those that just curl up and are in anguish about what is happening will not find this key to unlock the door for the future, and they will be out in the cold. So there will be loss of farms, there will be people that will go bankrupt, they will be walking off of property, but it's very much about this. Setting off on a new journey. So this is very much talking about a catalyst for that central region of a new way of doing things. A new way of doing things. And they either have to pivot to that new way, or they will not perish, but they will lose out. In the southern regions, there will be severe restrictions. They will have to draw on their inner strength and work together. But there will be this new, and this is the Water card, there will be a new beginning. This will end at some stage, but it's very much about building new relationships and the new beginning in the way of doing things. Look overseas for the strengths of how they do things overseas. You can see he's got this desert in the background, so we've got the water in the desert. And learn. Look at countries that are already dealing with the conditions that California is going to end up in, and learn from these and embrace the best of the new ideas. Okay, so that's what I'm getting per district. So I'm not seeing rain for you. I'm going to draw my inspiration cards, and I'm just going to have a look at the little story that is going to go along with this. So tell me, please, my intuitive cards. These are cards that I've made up from images that I have been given, or my terrible drawing, but more about so that I can intuitively read on a path forward to tell a story. And they can be quite an extensive story, but I want to have a look, please, at water, drought, rain, California. Tell me the story of where it's going, what needs to be done, the path to the future. Tell me the story, please, Master. Tell me the story. Tell me the story. Okay, come on down. A lot of white going on today. Okay, in. Stop. Overseas. Future. Right. In California, you need to stop and look overseas for the sake of the future being glass full, and the choice will be made. You have a choice. The glass can be full or the glass can be empty. Demolition, poverty, darkness, technology, out, no. So what we've got going on here is that California, the agricultural industry in California, it is in the throes of it has to stop, it has to look overseas for the sake of its future. It can choose between a glass full or a glass empty, and it is at this crossroads. There will be destruction, there will be loss, there will be darkness. But do not rule technology out. Look at all the technology options available to you. It is the destiny. Alien. Oh, yet to be written. It will feel alien, this destiny. It is not how things have been done. It is not how traditional farming has gone ahead in the Californian area. But it is the destiny and fate and karma. It will feel alien, but this is not yet written. The future is not yet written. And via leadership, there will be a bright future. But it will be, you'll be as busy as bees. It will be extremely busy. The cutting through the noise, the dividing of the noise, and the bravery of some in time will lead to this comfort, will lead to comfort and blessing. But it will be a slow change. It will be slow. Unity, bullseye, magic, entwining, feminine. Oh, I've got this feminine and jester together again. So it will be a slow process. I mean, nothing in agriculture pivots overnight, but the recognition needs to be made that this change needs to come about. The unity, spot on with the unity. It needs to be a unified change. There can't be bickering and fighting, blaming. It needs to be an acknowledgement and a working together to bring about the magic, because it is all intertwined. And we've got the feminine and the strength is ignoring the strength is in ignoring the strength. The foolishness is in ignoring the feminine, and the strength and abundance is acknowledging. It would be foolish. You've got feminine strength and foolishness in the middle if it's not. Now, as I say many times, feminine is not necessarily female. It is a strength of compassion, community, empathy. It's a very strong, powerful energy of bringing together communities, and this very much comes back to the working together in the unity. What we've got on the base is communication is the key. the key to preserving the water, drop by drop, drop by drop. So thank you for joining me today. I hope that was in some way enlightening. I hope that was in some way, sorry to have lectured you at the beginning there. I hope that was in some way positive. It is going to be difficult in the short term. What this is going to do is that it is going to force the way water is considered in a new direction. It is very much about looking overseas and seeing how other countries do this, how other countries cope, and also very much about there will be some that will pivot and some that will be unable to do so, but those that can achieve it will have abundance and success. So thank you for joining me. Any questions, pop them in below. If there's anything you'd like me to read on, either in the comments or send me an email. Look after your mental health. That was one thing that came across very strongly in this, and if there is something you can do, whether it's saving your shower water, we in Australia have dual flush toilets where you can choose the size of your flush, a half flush or a full flush, depending what is required. And so what I'm thinking is, in the US, you guys really need to look at the technologies that countries like Australia, who is a prosperous Western agricultural country where we don't have government subsidies for our farmers. They do receive handouts if absolutely necessary with disaster, but really our farmers subsist on their wits, on their ability, on their ability to pivot, on their innovation, on their acknowledgement that this is what the country is like, and we need to work with the country rather than try and force the country into a way that is not suitable. So please grow your veggies in pots inside in a sunny position if you are concerned. Easy things to grow: lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers. These are water heavy crops, but you can grow them quite simply if it is something of a concern for you. So please look after yourselves, look after your mental health, look after your community, engage where you can, and educate. So thank you for joining me, and I shall see you next time. Bye-bye.